Out of all the ways Akudama Drive could have ended this week, I would probably say Brawler and seemingly the Executioner both dying in a brawl to the death would have been last on my list. It would be the thing I was least confident in happening. And if you've watched my reviews, I always assumed Hoodlum would get Brawler killed. Like, that was my prediction, that because of his fake persona and the way he edged on Brawler, that would get him killed someday, and that would inspire Hoodlum to kind of rise to the occasion. And that does technically happen, but I never thought it would happen like this. This episode was surprisingly emotional. It was powerful. It was gripping. It really did make you question what should happen here. I still don't know if there's any characters I'm rooting for, because everyone, as far as we know, other than Swindler, who still is up in the air if she's a traitor, if she works for someone else and not saying is she actually an ordinary person, are criminals, and the Executioners are kind of like the most heroic by the looks of it. But then when you get information on the way this system is working, especially with these children's television programs, you can tell it's meant to indoctrinate the people watching, especially the youth, into thinking that their government, their system is all well and good, when really it's not good. So both the Executioners and the Akudama really aren't probably good people. They're just following a system or going against a system because they don't believe in it. There really isn't heroes or villains, so you can't necessarily say like, oh, is this good or is this evil? Really, it's just a mess of morals. So watching two characters fight to the death in such a graphic way had me not rooting for any particular side, just fearing the inevitable. It's something that hooked me. It's something that made me tense up. And the show's beautiful. The visual storytelling is immaculate. I mean, the rain effects in this episode are movie quality. They're like Garden of Sinners quality, if you've ever seen that movie series from Ufotable. It's insane to see the level of directing. This feels movie quality polished. That's how refined it looked. The dramatic shots when they pull away, the lightning strikes, just everything about it blew me away. There is no competition as of right now for best animated fight scene and directed fight scene of the season. Akudama Drive Episode 6 steals the show, and I feel like only Akudama Drive can top itself at this point in time. This was the midway point. This is the breaking point for the series. This is where Swindler is slapping Cutthroat. This is where Hoodlum rises to the occasion, and seemingly two characters have ended up dead. This is where everything that could have been playtime is tossed out the window in favor for more serious storytelling. If you watch after the credits, it does seem like Hoodlum is still alive. I was questioning if we were going to have 4 characters dead this episode, and when you see the one Executioner kind of pupil, who now is the master, kind of rise up, and you see how bloody she is, I was like, well, at least Hoodlum did get some fight in. But if you watch after the credits, it does seem like Kodlum is still there. But, wow. I mean, you get some really interesting information about the Executioners. This woman who's seemingly leading them is talking with the apprentice and saying how basically the Executioners and the Akudamas aren't really all that different. What really separates them is the master-apprentice kind of dilemma. When you have something that you're willing to fight for and die for, it gives you the desire to live on. And for him to abandon his apprentice means that he was ready to die. It's a hard pill to swallow, so it's interesting how she got there just in time to, because if she didn't appear on that bridge, what would have happened is I feel like Brawler would have won and Brawler would have survived, and you can always make the argument, did Brawler actually die? Is this a red herring? I do feel like both are dead. Could they do a reverse Uno here and say no, Brawler actually survived? Sure. I think it would be the most emotionally heavy if both of these characters ended up dead and really showed the stakes of it. But it's interesting because if she didn't appear on that bridge, Brawler probably would have pummeled his face, he wouldn't have punched because he wouldn't have cared about winning at that point. But because she appeared, he had something to fight for, to protect, and that's why seemingly they both ended up dead. And to see Hoodlum, honestly, I gotta give some respect here. He's a character who always felt like he was using the strongest person to get the job done, and that was true. But I do think that bromance that has been brewing is a legit bromance. He does value Brawler a lot, so to see his bro just on the floor, bloody and dead by the looks of it, so him pick up this lightsaber looking thing, it really did feel like a scene straight out of Star Wars. It clicks on, you see the lightsaber looking blade, and he just charges in and seemingly has gashed her eye out. And wow. To have Akudama Drive make me this near speechless is amazing. It's such a powerful episode that really did show you what it means to be alive. I mean, there's always a speculation about what these two kids are. a lot of people are continuing to speculate because the face design for someone like Swindler is identical to the brother and sister. It's either they are related or they come from the same place, or it's anime being anime and they just so happen to have similar character designs. I'm sort of leaning on the idea that they just have similar character designs, mainly because I don't think they're human. I feel like they're more robotic than anything. I feel like they were created by a scientist, and that's why when you get stabbed through your stomach and Cutthroat rips you apart, you just heal, or you have this almost, it doesn't feel human. Like, if you look at last week, they didn't need to eat for whatever reason, but they could eat. So it does feel to me like they're more technological than actual humans, but then again, it could be something very specific. Akudama Drive has proven that this is a show that has a lot of planning and structuring and is much more than just a fun, goofy show where people beat up other people and they go on crazy crime adventures. This show has become quite serious and emotionally engaging, and for that I really appreciate it, and kind of fixes the only issue I see the show could have having is not having an actual story and just being goofy fun with no development. But we're seeing the development. Hoodlum is one of the most basic characters in the show up until now, and now has completely elevated into a character who deserves a lot of respect. The fight even before all of that, and Cutthroat willing to kill this kid to save his love, is something that I was really hoping would have big importance towards the end of the episode. For him to kill this kid and to save her, I mean, he cuts off his own legs to try to save Swindler. I was really hoping that Swindler would be pissed off, because up until this episode, I was feeling like Swindler was trying overly hard to, care for these kids. But after this episode, I feel like she legit does care for these kids. And at this point, she might honestly just be an ordinary person. It's very hard to say, and the show's doing a great job at making you question, is there traitors or isn't there traitors? And people always ask, where's this traitor thing coming up? Back a few episodes ago, those children bunny programs were mentioning how Akudamas usually have traitors. Usually have two. I don't know. I still feel like Courier's a traitor. I mean, the way he's just so gun-ho about finishing missions, and the fact that he doesn't try to kill these executioners, it does feel to me, especially with how the executioners are kind of interacting with him, like, oh, screw your bike, I'm gonna kind of try to fight you, but not really. It just feels to me like Courier's a safe bet, I feel like, but then again, there's another character in the opening we haven't seen yet. That could be another traitor that we just don't know about. But still, it's nice to see someone like Swindler actually just abandon this lunatic, not even caring about her own safety anymore. Just really, this is how I feel. The fact that you put these kids in danger, you're dead to me sort of a situation. And I don't know how a lunatic like Cutthroat is going to deal with that. But it was very nice to see just the escalation and just, there was so many pieces at play. Like, you seemingly killed Doctor. You knew Doctor wasn't going to die, but still wasn't looking good. She herself even said, I thought I was goner. So it does indicate that people can die. And the fact that if they really do pull through and kill Brawler here, I think that would be a good sign for the show going forward, because it would show you that no one is invincible. And a character as strong as Brawler, who gets stabbed in his heart and is still ready to fight for whatever he believes in, if he can go out, anyone can. And the next one I feel like who probably will die is either Cutthroat or it's going to be Doctor. I feel like those are the likely two if anyone is going to die next. And you get a little bit of the children's program, this location, and seemingly they're going to that location after activating this weird mechanism. It's hard to say where they want to go next, but this was just an episode that drained me in the best possible sense. It's something that really knocked me away and just made me sit back and say, I have to reevaluate what I think this show can be, because if they literally went with that bridge scene, it's hard to say where this can go. And that gives me a lot of hope for Hacker as well, because Hacker seemingly just abandoned. Hacker being a traitor could also be something that gave away their location. I really hope Hacker does come back, because seeing what they did with Hoodlum, I really want to see something that really elevates Hacker as well into someone who really does change what you think he can be. Overall, this was an incredible episode. The voice actors were painful. They really made it feel like this was life or death. The visual directing was cinematic and completely hooked you in. Just everything about this episode was immaculate and a masterpiece. It was a 10 out of 10 episode, and no one can convince me otherwise. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What do you think? And do you think Brawler is officially dead, or do you think it was only the execution? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.